So this is my friend's sofa. As you can see, it's similar to a chaise. It's high on one end and low on the other. I think it's gorgeous. The fabric she's putting on it is rolled up, and as you can see, it doesn't quite fit the whole length. So I'm going to have a word with her about a couple of problems that might be of an issue. But the first thing I need to do is remove the cover. It's going to be like doing an oversized armchair. So let's get on with it. What I've done is re-straighten this line out a little bit. I might put another staple in here so it looks more straight. In fact, I will. I'm going to cut this one back slightly like this, because this is going to be going underneath and secure this here so it looks nice and neat. Now for here, I'm going to cut this back as well. Don't need all of that on there, like that. I'm going to move these. I don't want these here because I can't move the fabric where I want it. I've taken the staples out all the way up here so the fabric can be moved around a little bit better. And push that right under there like that. And I'm going to pull it down. I've re-pulled this in, and all I'm doing is pulling it round and to this outside edge so it looks smooth. The original fabric was a looser weave, so it wouldn't ripple like this, which unfortunately this one wants to do. There'll come a point where I have to put a pleat in. Maybe there was one there. It looks like it could have been a natural pleat there. So I'm going to put a small pleat here so I can carry on taking some of this fabric in. I'm going to pull this up into the back. The firmer this goes in, the nicer the front will look. I'll pull out the staples from here on up. I'm going to pull the fabric up but also round and into place. So I should start having little pleats as I go around and into position. Something I've got to be aware of is as I pull this around and into place, I don't want this to be going down and up, which means I will have to start pulling all of the fabric back so that the line here stays more or less in line. That's the only thing. When you've got fabrics with stripes or lines in, you have to be a little bit more aware of where your lines are going. The diamonds that she had on there weren't so specific because they had other things going along, but this with these lines going this way and these ones going here, I just have to be a little bit more careful. A floral would have been really good because as long as your flowers are in line, that's all you need to worry about. I'm going to put that one here and it's twisting down. I don't want it twisting down. Oh, what a bind. Now I pulled it in. It was about 1/2 inch going down, and I'll probably alter this anyway. And pull this up and over, split along there, and I am going to pull that back. And I'm also going to put another split there, not too far in, and I'll pull that up and into place. Now it wants to come in with a line. I'll have to work on that, see if I can get that out. I'm going to work this little part out. I might have to put a bit more stuffing in there, but we'll see. I'm going to pull this in like I did on the back. I'll put the pleats in around about here. Try to get the pleats on the warp or the weft thread. They go in better. And then work on around. And sometimes it's better to put another flat area in and then another pleat, because that holds everything in place for you. And I'll just ease that in. Now if I have made a mistake on the front, I can adjust it, but hopefully it's more or less where I want it. It's coming in nicely now. So I've relined this and pleated it in. I'm actually quite pleased with that. It's the second time. I'm not going to worry too much about this because the side is going to come in. So I've got the side border to put in, and I need to pattern match two ends. This part of the pattern has to come to the bottom as close as I can make it. I'm going to bring it up around the curve and then work out at the top here where it needs to go in. And I think it's about there. Okay, so I'm going to put in a staple right here on the bottom edge just to hold it, and I will move it because I've got to make sure that the pattern match goes this way as well as that way. Let's see where we get to. Double check. Actually I can come up a little bit with that. I'm going to put it higher. Now I'm going to work to the back end and see where I need to go to. But basically it's the same principle. Again, I'll take that part of the pattern there, put it towards the bottom there, then pull this all the way to the back like this. I have to allow it to follow the shape of the back of the chair, which is slightly rounded. I'm going to put a staple at the top here and then work out whether I need to raise it. This is where I start driving myself absolutely insane because I want everything to be where it should be. I'm thinking that pattern there, which would be that pattern there. I think it's this one here I need to be in line with. I'm going to put a staple there before I change my mind. Pull that out and there. And now all I've got to do is pull it from that one up to the top and make sure that it's in line with everything underneath. That one's that line. It's almost there. I think it will work. Take that to there and I can cut it back even further in a minute. It's really close. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to put some staples along here. I'm going to make sure that they're even with the base there. Now I have some back tacking here which I'm going to run from the front all the way down, and I'm going to make sure that the side of the back tacking is level with the bottom edge of the support here to the arm. Make sure it's nice and even. And the same going the other way. And this gives a nice edge to the underside of the arm. Make sure your staples don't go above the cardboard because you don't want anything to show if you can help it. I've cut a length of Dacron just over 1 inch wide, and I am going to staple it from top to bottom along the cardboard here. That's how it was done. I'm going to bring this round to the front, find out where the pattern matches, which is this part here. I'm going to line that up with the front border all the way down. This really is not a very forgiving fabric. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut in here and up. Having done that, pull that in here, and I'm going to staple it up and underneath the arm. I'm going to make some clips in like this, not all the way to the edge, but close enough that it will start fanning out like that. And I'm going to bring each one of those in tight from the front because this needs to have the shaping under the arm. I can actually go down now. I'm going to take it almost to the bottom but not quite because I'm going to have to work the bottom in a bit better. I'm cutting the piping and I'm cutting them at 2 inches wide all the way across here. I need them to be a little bit generous when I staple them into place. I'm going to put the piping together. This is the right side up and the right side down. Put it across like that, and so from one corner to the other on the smallest stitch. Get to the end, face up, and the next one face down. I've only got a few lengths to put together. Pop the piping cord in the centre of the fabric and pull it round. Raw edges together, pop it under there, put it on the longest stitch, and I'm going to sew all the way down here. Separate the lengths from each other and cut the seams off to within 1/4 of an inch, and then open it up like that. Pop that across, make sure it stays open, but double check when you get there, because sometimes they unravel a little bit under there, and sew across. Make sure the piping is tight against the seam and sew across to the next one. I'm going to do that all the way down this length of piping. With the piping, I've brought it most of the way round. I'm not going to take it as a full round like it was. Straightening it out slightly. Bring it down here. The outside edge of the piping is running along the outside edge of the wood. I've already put it on the other side. I want the piping to be just shy of the back of, or the inside part of the piping that is, of the chair frame. like that, so that when I've pulled everything in, it will tuck down nicely. I'm going to put this along here. It is aluminium back tacking. I'm going to start a little ways up from here because I don't want to interfere with the base. And I'm running the edge of the metal there against the piping. I will staple through each hole as I work my way around the back of the sofa. Once I have a section in, I'm just going to pull those over to touch the top of the piping like that. You don't have to put it hard up against there, but you certainly need to be close enough on there. I'm just going to measure from the end here to 33, which is here. So I'm going to move this up a little bit to there. I'm going to bring it down so that this pattern here is the one that's running across the bottom. Pop that under there like that and staple all the way across the bottom in a straight line. And I'll do the same the other way. Cut this back. I'm just going to infill. So I'm at the top of the sofa and I have here the center mark that I used in order to bring the sofa back into position, and I am going to pull it against the front there and cut back. I'm holding it with my hand so it's in position, and I'm just roughly cutting around so I'm not dealing with all of that fabric. Realign the center of that pattern with there and pull it up and cut a little bit closer. I'm cutting to just above the top of the piping like that in both directions. Pull this into position and tuck it underneath like that, and taking my tack remover I'm going to tuck that underneath the teeth of the back tacking, and then with a spare bit of fabric I'm going to tap that down and into place. So having got that piece in, I'm going to pull this back and cut down a little bit more, and then just pulling from the bottom to the top, tuck this underneath as well. I might need to use this just to get it right under there, because the more fabric under there, the better it holds. There we go. And then I can just tap it into place. I think it'll go in quite nicely. I've just got to take my time. I'm not pulling it sideways, I'm just pulling it from the bottom to the top here as I go round. The next thing I've got to do is cut out the front facing, and because they're different I'm going to have to think about it separately. I will line the fabric up as best I can to the original here. Make sure it's nice and even like that. I'm going to pop this on here. I've got to be careful because it might snag the fabric. The front of it comes down to there and the rest comes round. So this is the angle and shaping that I want. I am going to put a pin on the bottom here where it pulls into the top of the leg, and this pin denotes where the side of the outside edge of the sofa is, and this one denotes the inside edge where I think I need to be putting it. And I'm going to put a couple more on the way up, preferably on the outside edge because that's more defined. Another one there and here as it goes round into this area. So I've got some idea of what I'm looking at there. I have the front facing here to do. The trouble is that on the back side, some of these nails are not particularly straight. I've got to get them in the exact holes for them to work. So I had my friend up the road cut me 2 new ones out of 1/4 inch plywood. These are about 1/4 inch cardboard. I had loosely cut out a piece of fabric to go over the top, and I want this part of the pattern to go right at the base like that. I think I'm going to run that there, just like that. I can take that pin out and this one out because I don't need that there. And I will wrap that to the other side. I'm not going to take it too tight, I don't think. Tight enough to hold it, but not too tight. And attach that there and further down. I have to make it look nice and even, although the pattern is not going to go evenly up here because of the way the scroll is. I think that'll do. I'm going to do the outside first and then the inside just to pinch it in. Again, that's going to pull down. Put the outside scroll in first, like that. Usually I pull it from the top to the bottom, but because it is scrolled, there is no real top And what I mean top to bottom, usually it's a straight piece, so I pull from there to the top. This one's a little bit awkward, so I have to do it slightly differently. I will just make my way up. Now these here are just to kind of guide me where the inside of that was. You can see it's wanting to twist, so I'm going to then have to pull it round so it takes that twist out. I won't make my way all the way to the top end of here. Now the next thing is to put the piping on, and this is why you need a wider flange. I'm going to take that down to the end there, run the sewing line along the side of the side edge of the wood or cardboard. It's meant to run like that. I'm going to do this all the way around. So I've got back tacking. I am going to cut this in to short lengths of 2. These are held together with cardboard, so are easily cut. I think if I put 3 in on this one, it'll be fine. I could put nails through, but I'm going to just put a couple of staples in. And the same up here. Just mind the tack head. You don't want to go through the tack head, otherwise it will just buckle. So my front facing is here, line it up, so that line's there, and there's the curvature. And now, this is when I get nervous, I really do. I hate doing this part. Put that over there, and hammer, and then that down there, and hammer, up here, until it's all in. I'm hoping it works. Lastly, you need to trim off the excess fabric. Take out the excess trim in any piping. It won't matter that it doesn't quite reach because there's other things holding it in place. This piping I'm going to take level with the base there, and I'm going to squeeze just a little bit of hot glue in there and under there. And then I've got a nice long pin. I'm going to push that in to here and into here, so it's nice and firm. It won't matter too much if it's not quite right because I've got piping going around and that will take in anything else. Here I've taken back the extra padding that was there, that didn't need to be there. Take that out. Any long threads, take those off, don't want any of those. And then more hot glue all the way along in that groove. Pop that down, get my long needle, push it all into place like that, so it's held. The reason I'm using hot glue to hold it all into place is because my staple gun will not go in to those areas very well. And then hot glue again all the way along here and down the other side. And while it's still warm, I'm going to push that in and hide as much of the loose ends as I can. Just make sure it's nice and tight into place. And then once I've got that into place, I'm going to start stapling the piping along the back. And then bring the black cloth underneath up and into place. And because we're reusing it, it doesn't always mean that it's going to fit exactly where it had before, because it has stretched. But as long as it looks neat, that's all that matters. All I need to do is join the back. I'm going to take this one back to here and cut it out. And then you're just getting the fabric to cross over a little bit further, and that'll be done. Staple here, bring this down like that. The other side I'm going to bring along here and secure, and the same right on that corner and fold under. Trim that back, and then carry on putting the base cloth into place. Thank you for joining me on this project. This project has been quite stressful. Obviously you can see it's got straight lines for the fabric, but the sofa itself is shaped, which caused me on several occasions to feel that I was putting the fabric in the wrong way. But I'm absolutely thrilled with it. I think it's turned out really well, and I hope that my friend is going to be thrilled with it too. So if you want to see more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up will be brilliant. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.